When it comes to Facebook ads, there is one mistake that everyone is making, which is analyze their ads to maximize and increase the return on ad spend. And I've seen this across hundreds of ad accounts that I've audited in the last 6 months only, and I always see the same mistake. People still don't know how to actually analyze the ads to maximize the return on their ad spend. And that's why I've decided to make a video about it and show you guys the exact method that you should use and that we use in our agency to generate the results that you will see in a second when it comes to analyze Facebook ads. Let's jump on my screen here. So as you can see, this is like just some of the results that we got using this method. This is like 1st of April until the 26th of May, and we got a 4.72 return on ad spend with a 50k in ad spend. And then as you can see, we also spend more money on like some specific brands. In this case, just May, we have spent 125k in 1 month, almost 1 month for this brand. And so as you can see, we have some experience when it comes to running ads for e-commerce brands. So let's talk now about the different methodology that we'll go through today. So there are two things that we absolutely must do when it comes to analyzing Facebook ads. We analyze Facebook ads to stabilizing ROAS. So there are some decisions that you make when you want to stabilize the return on ad spend, and then there are other decisions that you make when you want to increase the return on ad spend. Of course, this is something that you need to do simultaneously, but there are different things in terms of like KPIs and things that you should consider and keep in mind when you do this kind of analysis. Now let's have a look at the ROAS stabilization decision. So the first thing that you need to understand is what is your actual target ROAS. To calculate your target ROAS, what you want to do, very simple, you want to do 1 divided by your margins in terms of percentage. So for instance, you have 20 USD in cost of goods sold, and then you sell for 100. That means that your gross margins are 80%, so 0.8. So your target ROAS in this case is 1 divided by 0.8, and this is basically 1.25. So your target could be anything above 1.25. You need to understand how much in terms of percentage you want to make, which usually we recommend doing like 20 to 30% in terms of like gross margin from ads. And so ideally what you can do, you can subtract this from this 80% your margin target. So let's say it's 20%, then it means that the margin is going to be 60%, and so 1 divided by 0.6 is going to be your target return on the ad spend. Let's say this is like 30%, just to make it simple. So 1 divided 0.5, which is going to be 80% minus 30% that you have as a target in terms of gross margins that you want to make. You're going to have a target ROAS of 2. Your break-even is still 1.25, but your target is 2x. Cool. Now you know your numbers, and now you can actually move on with the analysis phase. How we do actually analyze ads and make decisions. The first thing that you want to look at is your return on ad spend and your ads results within the last 5 to 7 days, and see if this return on ad spend after you have launched the ads and 7 days have been passed, 5 to 7 days passed, you need to actually check if the return on ad spend is above or below your target. If it's below your target, ideally you need to turn this off. You need to keep it on for just a couple of more days. I will show you more precisely here in this graph. And if it's higher than that, then you need to increase the budget, ideally by 20 to 30% every 2 to 3 days. And yeah, exactly, every 3 to 7 days you need to basically repeat. Now, before taking decisions, you also need to analyze the last 10 to 14 days data, because sometimes what we usually see is that in the last 7 days, 5 days, let's say you launched the ad 14 days ago. Okay, now the ads works very well for the first 7 days. The second 7 days, they will start declining in performance, but then the overall return on ad spend is still higher than the target if you look at the last 14 days data. And then what could happen is that in the third week, so the next 7 days, the results increase as well. So actually improve again. And because of that, sometimes you want to also look not just at the last 3, 5, 7 days, but also at the last 14 days. This is a visual graph for you to actually understand how to look at these kind of things, like at this data overall. So let's say day 1 you launch the ads, and then after 5 to 7 days you do the first analysis. Cool. So what you have to do here is understand your return on spend. So the return on spend is above or below the target. If it's below the target, you want to turn the ad off. If it's above the target, you want to increase the budget by 20%. Then after 3 to 5 days, you need to do another analysis as well. So let's say on day 10, you analyze the ads again, and then you look at the return on spend. Now the return on spend could be again above the target or below the target. If it's above the target, you increase again by 20%. But if it's below the target at this point, what you need to ask is, but how about the last 10 days? And then you can see that the return on spend could be above or below the target. If it's below the target, of course you want to turn it off in this case. But if this is above the target within the 10 days time frame, even if it's below the target in the last 5 days, you still want to keep the ad active, and then analyze again in the next 5 days, and then see if you see any increase in performance. And this will allow you to actually turn off only the ads that are actually loser, because it's very, very common to see fluctuation inside the ad account for like 7 days, and then ads that go back up. And this is something that no one is telling nowadays. Like I see like a lot of YouTube videos, but no one is saying this, and this is actually very important, because sometimes you might have a very good content and you just turn it off, but you shouldn't, because that content could be a very profitable content for you in the long term. Now let's say you have your winning ad, you have your winning angles, you know already what is working, and then in this case you need to make incremental return on spend decisions. So decisions that will help you to optimize the existing ads that are probably winning already and increase the return on spend even more. And so when it comes to this specific kind of analysis and methodology, you need to look at this data. So you need to actually understand what is ROAS. So return on spend is basically a combination of different metrics, which are the cost per click, the conversion rate, and the AOV, so the average order value. And CPC, by the way, depends also on these two metrics, which are the click-through rate and the CPM. And so your overall goal is to decrease the CPC, increase the conversion rate, and increase the AOV, because if you do this, the return on spend also increase. And then when it comes to CPC, how you actually decrease the CPC? By increasing the click-through rate or by decreasing the CPM. And this is the entire picture here, guys. So just by looking at this, you should already know what to do. Let's say you have like an ad, and then this ad has like a click-through rate of 0.5%. Cool. You know that you could, with that ad, by iterating maybe the hook, you can increase the click-through rate and decrease the cost per click. So if you keep the same conversion rate, you could eventually increase the return on spend. And this is how you actually analyze your ads to improve the ROAS. Now here I put some things to do when it comes to improving those metrics. So for instance, when it comes to click-through rate, in order to increase the click-through rate, one thing that you should do, the most important thing usually, is the hook. So you need to basically improve the first 3 to 5 seconds of your video ad, if it's a video ad. If it's a static, you need to improve most likely your headline or your design. Probably you're using one of those classic design that everyone sees nowadays, reviews, testimonial, point out. You need to do something more creative, which is, by the way, something that we usually do, and we see the highest click-through rate coming from these type of static ads. When it comes to CPM, the way that you have to decrease the CPM is by increase the engagement on your ad. So you need to eventually make an ad which is more engaging, or you can run on the side a post-engagement campaign to make sure that the actual engagement on the ads increases. And then something that no one is talking about, literally, guys, and you should go check this YouTube video, you basically need to apply new audience targeting strategy, which is something that I actually explained in this video. You should go check it. And in this video, I basically explain this strategy that allows you to target a new audience within your target audience and allows you to decrease CPMs by literally even like 50%. This is crazy. You should go check it. Now, when it comes to conversion rate, the way that you have to increase the conversion rate are actually two. You can do it by improving the ads relevancy, or improve the landing page, so with like CRO tactics. Now, when it comes to ads, when it comes to increased relevancy, is basically just making the messaging more related to the people that are actually seeing your ad. And when it comes to landing page, is basically by classic CRO tactics. So you want to improve, the way that you display all the things in a landing page. You want to make sure that you have enough social proof, trust, and all the elements that you should have inside of your landing page, as well as your offer, of course. And finally, when it comes to AOV, the way that you have to improve this is, of course, to improve the offer itself or even the ads landing page, because sometimes I see people that are running ads specifically, for instance, to like a collection page, and so in this case it's much more difficult to understand what your AOV will look like. And so your way to increase the AOV is by forcing people to buy from a specific landing page. And so you know for sure maybe you have like an offer, like a bundle or something specific on the landing page that gives you an AOV of like 100, for instance. You know already it's going to be like that, so you're running ads to a predictable landing page in terms of like AOV. And so ideally what you want to do, you want to maximize the AOV as well with the offer or with different tactics like inside the website, for instance, upsell, cross-sell, and all those things. Now you know all the metrics, you know how to improve them, but what are the targets for your brand? And so you basically need to understand how to find the targets for each of these KPI for your specific brand based on your unique unit economics and your financials, of course. So let's do an example. You have a target ROAS of 2, as I showed before. Now, how to define your targets? First question you need to ask yourself is, how much is the AOV of the product that you are selling? Let's say that you have like a very stable AOV. In this case, for instance, you could look directly at the AOV from the ads itself. They usually get within the ads manager for the ads that you are running already. Let's say it's 100 USD. Cool. Second question is, what is your current CPM? Let's say it's 40 USD. Third question is, what is your current conversion rate? 3%. Now, the reason why you need to look at these metrics first is because those metrics usually are already set. So it's kind of difficult to improve them. And so you need to consider that you're already doing your best. So what it means is that your AOV is already maximized as much as possible, and you have found the best offer for your AOV, knowing that the AOV is enough for you to be profitable and to have a high return on ad spend. CPM is also very tricky, also fluctuates based on auction and a lot of different things, so it's kind of difficult to control, even though I'm pretty much sure, I actually guarantee you that if you follow my strategy in the other video that I talk about, you will definitely see a decrease. And then the third is the conversion rate, which at the end of the day really depends on how the ads target, because sometimes the ads manage to target a better audience and you also get a better conversion rate. And so you should take just an average of what you usually see over like a 30-90 days period inside your ad account directly. And then once you have defined all of this, you need to ask yourself, how many orders do I need to get to my target ROAS, in this case of 2? And so the answer is simple as 2. Because if I get 2 orders, 100 is a selling price, so my revenue is going to be 200. I spend 100 on ads, and so basically I'm making a return on spend of 2. Considering a 3% conversion rate, how many people should you bring to the website in order to generate 2 orders? And so this is basically the calculation. So what you want to do in this case, a conversion rate divided by the number of orders. So 0.03, which is your conversion rate, divided by 2 equals 67. That means that you need to bring 67 people to your website in order to get 2 orders. And then you ask yourself, how much should I pay each click? Considering that you're spending 100 USD for a return on spend of 2, you need to make 2 orders. So 100 USD is your budget. That means that you need to get 67 at least clicks with a conversion rate of 3% and all the other metrics like CPM and AOV standard to generate a 2x ROAS. Cool. So you know for sure that 100, which is your budget, divided by 67 is how much you can pay for a click. Of course, the cheaper the best, but 1.49, everything below that is going to be your target. And then you should ask yourself finally how much my click-through rate should be to have a cost per click of 1.49 if my CPM is 40, my conversion rate is 3%, and so on. 100 USD, this is the math basically, will buy you 100 by 40, which is the CPM. So you're basically gonna buy you this like 100 USD. If you have 40 CPM, will buy you 2.5k impressions. Now you need to get at least 67 clicks, and the click-through rate should be 67, so the number of clicks, divided by the number of impressions that you should get. And so in this case, your click-through rate target is 2.68. So what you basically know now is that if you have a CPM of 40, a conversion rate of 3%, an AOV of 100 USD, and you want a 2x ROAS, then you need to have a CPC, which is 1.49, and a click-through rate, which is 2.67 at least, to get your return on investment target. Now, what is the main issue here? The problem is that conversion rate and CPM change creatives by creatives and targeting by targeting, landing page by landing page. And so there will be some creatives with a 5% conversion rate, and then other with a CPM of 60. And so it's very difficult for you to check off this data. That's why I said that you need to look at the last 30 days, 90 days data, so you have a better understanding of how your CPM and conversion rate looks like. Even though, again, you shouldn't look more than that, because there might be market fluctuations. Like, for instance, if you're in Q4 and then you look at the last 90 days, the CPM of course is going to be higher for you now, and then you need to calculate, like, kind of do a forecasting, as in, okay, now the CPM will basically increase by this amount because it's Q4. So I also need to improve all the other metrics like conversion rate and everything, which probably is going to happen because maybe you're going to run a discount or Black Friday Cyber Monday campaign. But anyways, at the end of the day, what I'm basically want to tell you here is that you should mainly look at the ROAS itself when it comes to KPI and understand winning ads and how to improve things. All these metrics here will basically help you to understand how to improve the number of your existing ads. So let's say that you have like an ad that is giving you a 1.60 or 2 cost per click, and the main way for you to actually improve this is by bringing the click-through rate to your target, which is 2.68, if all the other metrics are fixed, of course. And so in this case, you know, based on what I've said here, that you mainly need to focus on improving the hook of your ad, or the message, like the headline itself or the ad concept, if it's a static ad. And that's it for this video, guys. If you want to work with us, I'm going to leave you the link to reach out directly to me in the description of this video, and I'll see you in the next video.